Come along as I work on this huge 4-piece set. This is a Bassett set, and in this style, I think it's kind of Spanish Revival. Look at all these really cool molded areas and hardware and these unusual brass plates. And do they need bases? Do I need to add all kinds of things, take things away? I'm not sure. This is going to be quite a transformation. Those brass plates are something else, aren't they? I don't know if I add knobs in those spaces or put them back where they are. It's going to be an interesting journey. Be sure to follow along. I'm Shireen with Olive Street Designs, and I'm showing the process of furniture refinishing so you can learn too. Be sure to subscribe and follow for more. All right, time to get started. First thing I need to do is remove all of this hardware. There's a lot of hardware. Not only are there lots of knobs in those huge pulls, but I have all these brass plates. I'm interested to see how do these even attach. So there were a couple of screws on the back, and then there's like 4 holes with each one of them. So that's going to change the plan a little bit. That may dictate me having to make some changes to this, but lots of hardware. This took a long time actually to get it all off of here. These door pulls, wow. I mean, you could hurt someone with that. It's solid brass. So I finally got everything off, and what a difference it made already. I'm liking it. It took a while to figure out the combination. I used so many different knobs and pulls and then to try to figure out what am I doing at the base. Is that too long of a I mean, so many things. Okay, maybe the feet? Oh, decisions. I think I've got a plan though. We'll have to see how it develops here, but in my mind, I think I've got a plan. Lots of sanding ahead. Again, as I mentioned, these are laminate. So this is wood, that's laminate, this is laminate, this is wood. It's a combination. This is plastic. So when somebody's going to tell me you should have just restained it, it's not possible. The inside of this is laminate. Laminate, sometimes people say, oh, it's laminate, it's horrible. Back in this era, these are 60s, 70s kind of, this era used a lot of laminate, and it really made them last a long time. They didn't get all worn out. Back to this project. I've got to add some supports because I have chosen legs. So I'm going to use 2x4s to add some support so that I have something to put the legs on. And there was a little piece of wood there that I had to make a notch in so that they would fit. We'll talk about using that saw later. Don't come at me because I was not doing, probably shouldn't have been using it like that, but that's okay. So you can see they fit flush now. I'm removing some supports that are on here. And it does weaken this a little bit, so I'm going to have to go in and reinforce the base now that I've taken its supports off. But I'm going to do the same thing with every piece that I put in there. It had to be custom fit to work around all the little pieces that were in there. So here I am. I'm going to be now reinforcing and countersinking some screws. That way I can put some screws right in there and strengthen this up. And then I just filled it with a little wood filler. Since this is getting painted, I didn't mind just putting a screw right in it and making it stronger. Okay, I glued everything. I put long screws in to hold everything. And once all of that's dry, I'm going in to put the T-nuts and everything in that are going to be the receivers for the legs. So I drilled a big hole where this is going to go. And I don't like that it sits up there, because when I put my legs on there and I screw them on, it's going to have a gap, and that bugs me. So here we go. This is how we solve it. We're going to take this bit, and be careful when you put this in your drill, because I was holding it. I shouldn't have been. Oof. And I got cut. That bit is very sharp. Anyway, when I work around after my injuries, here we go. So you can see that just provides a little bit of an area for that to sit down into. So now when the legs go on, it's going to go on flush. Yes, love that. Okay, same thing with the dresser. I added 2x4s there too. Love it. Okay, those legs are going to be on there and be supported, and we're going to test one out, and no gap. Isn't that lovely? It's worth the extra time to make those sit down. Okay, let's look at these drawers. See all the holes from the brass plate? And again, this is plastic, really heavy wood grain molded into the plastic. So if I filled those holes with wood filler, you could see them. They'd be smooth. It's not going to look right. So I decided to take some backer board that's actual real wood and cut it to size. And I'm going to just make little planks that fit over all of these. There's a lot of drawers. They all have this area, so I'm going to be doing this for a while. I ripped a bunch of boards. I cut them to size. It seemed like every drawer was just a little bit different size. So, or my cutting was off, I don't know, but I had to custom fit nearly every single piece. And I was just doing that with my sander. And then I glued everything down and I put brad nails in, and I forgot to film it. So just imagine that you saw that happening. And now that they're there, I put some wood filler in for the brad nails. Time to sand. You can see all of the little wood planks that I had to put in there to fill all that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 of them. That was my entire day. Okay, off to the sponge, and so I can get all of the curved areas. And here we're going to start working on the cabinet. So, again, laminate. Got to sand this really well so that your primer and paint stick to it. It can be done. It's not a problem, but you'd have to use good products and good prep. I also have some of these gaps that I don't like, so I'll put wood filler in those as well. Time to get some cleaning done. People don't take their drawers out. I know I don't. So after 50, 60 years, this is dirty. It's just dust. Got to get everything clean. And now these have been prepped, so it's time to get this clean. Gonna give it a good scrub just to get all that dust out. So much dust. These have never been so clean. Okay, time to do some repairs to the drawer guides. Now these little glides are super important. They provide a place for the drawers to glide over, and they also help to keep them all straight and proper spacing. So when they break like that, or that's where they go, when they break and look like that and just a little nail hit, it's not doing its job. So we've got to replace them. I use needle nose pliers, put them there, and I just tap them in. I probably had to replace 8 of them on these sets. They just wear out over time. And voila, we're all good to go. I'm not doing anything with the inside of these cabinets. They are pristine because of the laminate. They look like they've never been used, so we're going to keep them just as they are. I taped everything off. I'm also taping off my hinges. I don't want any paint on my hinges. Sometimes I remove the drawers or the doors, but since I'm not painting the inside, I'm going to keep the doors on just to protect everything. Trim that up, and here we are. These are prepped and ready to go. I'm really starting to see these come together, and now it looks like how I envisioned it. All right, time to set up the spray tent. I'm going to use every inch of the spray tent because this set is huge. Once I get everything in there and all arranged and organized, transformation station, time to set up my primer. I get lots of questions about how I prepare my paint and primer, so I thought I'd show it. Just putting some primer in there. I like to scoop it out. I hate pouring out of the gallons, and then you don't have all that dried paint around the edges that gets in your paint, so I always scoop it. I did add some water to dilute it, and now we are ready to go. Prime time. I don't even know how I would do this if I wasn't spraying. This would take 3.5 days, I think. So many little nooks and crannies and everything, so this was definitely a set that needed to be sprayed. I remember those days, though. I used to do everything with a brush, but I will never go back to that. Spraying is everything. The finish you just can't beat. Okay, primer is on. I let everything dry for a couple of hours, and now I'm just scuff sanding again with my little sponge just to smooth it all out. Here's my paint, Midnight Navy by Evolution. This is a beautiful dark navy. I love this color. It is just a rich dark blue. Love it. After that sits, I just get it so that it's not it's fully dry, but I wouldn't repaint it at this point. So in between coats, I am just touching up the drawers because of course the sprayer does not get this part. So sides and edges, top, everything. Now that all needs to dry. And once that coat is dry, time for another good sanding. Dust everything off, and here's my second coat of paint. That's a big dresser. I had to get the stool out for that one, and I'm tall. This thing was tall. Second coat of paint is on. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, this is how I prep my top coat. I dump everything out of my canister. I don't rinse it. So there's residue in there of paint. Now I'm adding my top coat. I kind of have a formula for how many scoops for how many things. And I have tinted top coat. One last dusting before I spray my top coat. I'm using an all-in-one paint, so I don't have to use top coat, but I just like the flat top coat. And I'm also touching up my edges because I want to make sure everything is super straight and lovely. Time to install some hardware. Everything dried for a few hours before I get to this point, though. I don't want to put hardware on tacky paint. And let's line some drawers. Drawers and drawers and drawers. So many drawers. Okay, I measure everything and I cut everything to size. I don't like to just jam it in the drawer and then trim with an X-Acto knife. I feel like I never get it straight that way. So this way I know that I get it straight. I dry fit it. I'm going to pull that backing off. And then just lay it in the drawer, smooth it out with my hand. And then I've got a plastic putty knife that I get all the air bubbles out with. Time to condition the wood. These are dry. I mean, 50, 60, maybe more years old, and they were ready for it, but they look beautiful now. Let's put the legs on. Don't forget the felt feet. It's all in the details, guys. People appreciate that kind of stuff, so I always put the little feet on. Let's see, should I have done a base or are the legs everything? I think the legs are the winner. Okay, this is a huge long span. This dresser is massive. And I've taken it off of its natural base because I raised it up on legs, so it no longer has support. So I was going to do a really long leg in the middle, and I decided to put a 2x4 in here for some support and then add the leg. So once I get that secure, then here's my leg, my support leg in the back. I did pocket holes, so I'm attaching it with pocket holes. And then I'm putting a little adjustable foot on it. That way, when somebody gets it in their home and they get it set up, then they just unscrew it a little bit so that it has its support, and then that dresser will never sag. Looking good. This is a beast. Oh, so heavy, but I got it up. Yay! Okay, time for a little wood logo. I love these. I put these in my special pieces. Let's take a look back at where we started. Wow, how far we've come. And here it is. This truly is a special set. So unique, but I feel like it's now a modern set that would go in today's household. I love the richness of the color and how it still has some of that vintage charm, but definitely more modern. So I hope you like the transformation, and be sure to follow for more.